What's up, y'all? How's everybody doing? How's everybody's Saturday going, first and foremost? I hope you guys see me. I hope I'm coming through clear. So I want to make sure of that first off. Cool. What up, Ron? What up, Cheryl? How y'all doing? Pittsburgh in the building. What up, Miss Pam? Nice to see you. What up, Crystal? So we're gonna be here for the next. You're on the back of a motorcycle. Listen, Lisa, that's pretty. It's pretty skillful. Make sure you're being careful. So as we know, we did the training. Well, I did it by myself for 45 minutes because this thing froze. So it's not gonna happen again. So we're good. But this is the purpose training. And so what I need you guys to do is, you already know the details and the rules. I need you guys to lock in. What up, Elizabeth? What up, Mill? How you doing? I need you guys to take notes. Today, I'm going to do some different strategies in coaching. So this is a little bit different. I'm actually on my phone. I've been doing it on my computer. And then next time, I'm going to do a more professional setting. But before I get started, I always want to inspire you guys to know that you're enough, meaning that you don't have to look professional and all this stuff to actually make an impact. And so like, that's one of my staples. Like, I want to make sure when people look at what I do, look at my purpose, I want to make sure you get inspired to say like, dang, I can just be me, right? I can just pick up my cell phone and coach, because it's about the information. It's not about the presentation. A lot of times we get wrapped up in the presentation. So let's talk about purpose. Let's get right into this. 45 minutes, then we're going to take 15 minutes, about 40 minutes, then we'll take 20 minutes Q&A. Let's get right into this. So purpose is such like a big thing to talk about, right? Like, we see it all the time, how to find your purpose, how to live your purpose. And it's tough, right? Because you hear so many people tell you so many different things about purpose. And I'm not saying that I'm the correct one, but I only can share what's real to me and what really helped me identify purpose. And I'll start off by saying this. Purpose is not something that you go search for. I truly believe purpose, like the world doesn't have your purpose. I truly believe that. I don't feel like you can go find your purpose like down the street. I don't believe that. I think what you can find is your placement, which we're going to talk about later on. But I don't think the world has your purpose. And the reason I believe that is because I believe you were created with purpose. I don't believe it's something that somebody gives you. I believe it's who you are. And I see so many people, I don't want to say make the mistake, but that's the only word that comes to my mind right now. They make the mistake of thinking that the world has their purpose. And so they go around looking for it. But they don't realize that purpose is who you are. So please write this down. Like, this is the main saying I want you to take from this, and I want you to write it down, but I want you to see it every single day to remind yourself. First of all, you are enough. Don't write that. You can write this down too. But I want you to understand this. You are enough. You've heard me echo that for the last 10 years, but I need you to get it, because if you don't realize you're enough, you're never going to realize that you are purpose. That's why I spend so much time on self-worth. That's why I spend so much time on making sure that you know that you are enough. Because if you don't know you're enough, you're never going to believe that you have purpose. Okay? So write this down. I am purpose. All right, like seriously, like I'm going to give you a second. Write it down, and I want you to put it somewhere where you can see it every single day. You can write in your notes right now. I don't care if you get creative, put it on your screensaver. I don't care if you put it on your mirror. Write it down. Say, I am purpose. You have to start thinking like this. You got to stop thinking that the world has something for you. I mean, we even go to scripture. You know, God tells us that he created us on purpose, right? He set us apart. Like, God created you. Like, let's talk about this for a moment. Like, God created you, right? There's nobody like you. There's people who talk like you, look like you, dress like you, but there is nobody like you. So he created you on purpose and with a purpose. So before we even get started here, which we already got started, but before we even dive in deep about like what purpose isn't and what purpose is, like, I want you to understand that fact, because when you get that, you will live life in a different way. Like, the definition that I have for purpose is simply this. Using my life, this is how I think, using my life for the betterment of others, period. So if I go to the gym, I'm living my purpose. If I'm inspiring people there. Right now, I'm living my purpose. With my kids, with my wife, I'm living my purpose. Purpose creates legacy. So the question I want to ask you right now, and write this down, I want you to think about it. What is the legacy that you're going to leave? Think about that, because whether you understand this or not, you are going to leave legacy. It could be a negative legacy, and I talk about this in my book in chapter 10. You can leave a negative legacy, or you can leave a positive legacy. You can leave a legacy of a lack of faith, of quitting, or just accepting less, of just living life through the motions, not realizing that you are purpose. Or you can leave a legacy saying, you know what? I am purpose. I live my full potential. I lived a fulfilled life. I gave the baton with the lead, right? Have you ever seen a relay race and, you pass the baton? I don't know if any of you ever ran track before, but it sucks when you get the baton when you behind, right? I mean, it's cool if you got the speed to catch up, but not everybody has that speed. And if we're being honest here, a lot of us have gotten the baton behind because the person, and no disrespect to anybody's parents in here, but maybe their parents, right, didn't leave them a great legacy. So a lot of times we're playing catch up in this world because unless you have great parents, which I was blessed enough to have great parents, but I want to take the legacy they gave me and I want to even further it even more. But a lot of us, we're taking this baton of pain. A lot of us, we're taking this baton of setbacks, right? Of family, generational curses. And we're trying to run this race. But most people, what they do is they take the baton and they use it as an excuse not to run faster, not to run harder. And I get it. It sucks when you got to work harder. But listen, you have it in you. So what's the legacy that you're going to leave? When you pass the baton, right? That baton is life. When you pass that baton to your kids, when you pass that baton to the world, when you leave here, what's the legacy that you're going to leave, right? Are you going to give them a head start in life? Are you going to make them play catch up? Are you going to leave an impact on their life in a positive way? Or are you going to leave an impact in a negative way? So think about that. Like, purpose creates legacy. Do you hear me? Purpose, write this down, please. Purpose creates legacy. What is the legacy that you're going to leave? And examine your life, because just like I said, regardless, whether you want the title or not, you are inspiration to somebody. You're the inspiration to keep them the same, to inspire them to do nothing with their life, or to inspire them to better their life. It starts with you. So what's the legacy that you're going to leave? So my definition of purpose, right? Purpose is tied into that. I realize I can use my life in whatever way I can use my life to create impact, to create inspiration, to create positivity, because God created me. Stop thinking purpose is something that the world has. I'm going to talk about what you're looking for in a second, because you might be saying, Trent, well, what's the avenue, right? What's the placement? I'm going to talk about how you find that placement where your life can be used most effectively. So you might be saying, well, you're living rehab time. Rehab time is your purpose. Rehab time is not my purpose. This is not my purpose. Trent Shelton, who I am, this soul, this spirit is my purpose. Rehab time is just the placement. It's just the placement of where my life is being used most effectively. So and you don't believe me with this? Let me ask you a question. So when I thought football was my purpose, right? I lost football. I lost my life because I thought that was my purpose. It wasn't. Football was a placement. And through life, we're going to go through placements. Look, rehab time might not last forever. So if I lose rehab time, should I lose my purpose? No. I can still take myself, my life, to something else. So a lot of us, what we do is we have a short vision, right? We have a tunnel vision, and tunnel vision is great in some areas, but when it comes to this, tunnel vision isn't great. All right. I get it. When you're focused, focus is everything. I understand that. But some of us think that we have to have a particular thing in order to live our purpose. Some of us feel like we're not enough, right? Some of us feel like we have no purpose. Let me tell you right now, you are purpose. You have it. If you're breathing, if you got lungs, if you got a heartbeat, feel that. Put your hand over your chest right now. If your heart is beating, you have purpose. Okay, so let's get that clear. I want to make sure that we understand that. I want to make sure that you get that, because if you don't understand that, you're going to spend your whole life searching for someone to give you something, right? Searching for someone to validate you. Why are you searching for validation when you already been validated? God already set you apart. God gave you plans to prosper you, not to fail you. Like, get into your word if you don't believe me. And when I understood that part of life, I'm like, wait a minute. God put me here for a reason. Just think about that. You think you're just here just to be here? Just to take up space? No. You're here for your life to be used. For your life to be used. And listen, you'll never realize that you have, well, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Let me get back to that, okay? Because I'm going to talk about placement. And I'm going to talk about how you find placement, okay? And we'll talk about it in a second. But the thing, if you getting this, say straight up, guys, there we go. It's up to each. There you go, Cheryl. Exactly. And I'm going to tell you how you find your placement in a little bit. I'm glad you guys are getting this. And listen, I'm trying to read you guys' comments at the same time, but after, I promise you, I'll answer questions, okay? I hope you guys are being fired up winning your week. This is winning your weekend, man. I just left the gym. I wanted to be like in full go mode for you guys, all right? So the mistake that I see a lot of people make, okay? And I made this mistake. A lot of people, first of all, don't realize that they are purpose, right? They're searching for something in the world, right, to validate who they are, right? To validate that they're special, whatever it may be. Okay? So y'all are straight up cool. Getting cut out? All right, cool. Just making sure. I see some people saying they're getting cut out, but most of you are still in here, so we'll keep it going. And there'll always be a replay. So write these three things down. We're going to talk a lot about the letter P, a lot of words that start with the letter P in this process. So there's three things that I feel like a lot of people get confused, right? A lot of people get confused with purpose. They tie their purpose, right? They tie their purpose into these things. So they feel like if they don't have these things, there's no way I could be living my purpose. There's no way that my life could be used the most, okay? Mistake number one. Too many people tie their purpose into profit, okay? Too many people think purpose involves profit. Let me be straight up with you right now. Purpose has nothing to do at first. Not even at first. Purpose has nothing to do with profit. Can profit come while you're living your purpose, your placement? I'm going to just use the word purpose for now, but you guys know what I'm talking about. When your life is being used the most, can profit come? Sure it can. But the problem that most people make is that they start off thinking, okay, where's the placement? Where's the avenue that I'm not making enough money, so there's no way this could be what I was created to do. There's no way. I don't have six figures. There's no way, right? I'm still struggling. There's no way. And let me be clear. Business and purpose, sometimes they go hand in hand, but most times they don't. I know a lot of people that has a great business that are doing great in business. I know a lot of rich people that aren't living their purpose, right? They aren't allowing their life to be used the most. I know a lot of people who create great things and great products. But does that mean that you're living in your gift? Absolutely not. There's people who created pills, right? That are rich from it. You think that's their purpose? Alcohol, liquor, you think that's their purpose? Absolutely not. So the question I want to ask you right now, if you didn't get a dollar from whatever that placement is, maybe it's being a speaker, maybe it's being a volunteer, maybe it's writing a book, maybe it's starting your business. If you didn't get a dollar from that, would you still do it? And I ask this question to a lot of people. You know the answer is? Nah, I wouldn't do it. I'll quit. Because people are too wrapped up in their bank account. And when it comes to my life, you got to realize something. If you know my story, you know this is fact. I spent years of speaking for free. I spent years of delivering value. It wasn't about a paycheck for me. I still undervalue myself, like straight up. In my position where I'm at, the rate to book a speaker, it's 10 times more than what I charge. And I still do things for free because if you took this away, right? If you took this away, I am who I am. I would still do this because this is my heart. But a lot of people say, oh, I'm not making money from it, so this couldn't be what I was created to do. And if you're in that position, you need to reevaluate your life. Because if it really is what you were created to do, you would do it for free. Not saying you always have to do it for free because you have value, you have worth. I'm not saying that you have to do it for free your whole life. But I see so many people never start to put their life in the placement it's supposed to be in, live the life that they were created to live because they're too wrapped around money. They allow money to dictate what's right for them. I know a lot of rich people that are miserable. I know a lot of successful people that are unfulfilled. Which one do you want? Can you have both? Absolutely. But you know what? It starts with a purpose mind. A purpose mind. A purpose mind says, I don't care about these things we're talking about right now. These P's. I don't care about these 3 P's. I don't care. I don't care about profit right now. This is what I was created to do, and I'm going to do it to the day that I check out. I signed up for this forever. You get me? There's no out of me in this. If God wants to take it away, cool. I'll just place my life somewhere else. But this is who I am. I don't have an on and off switch. You see me in the gym, this is who I am. You see me on stage, this is who I am. You see me with my family, this is who I am. I have no on and off switch. If you have an on and off switch, I'm telling you right now, you're not doing what you were created to do. Legacy over currency. All day, every day. Legacy over currency. Okay, so that's the first P. Write that down. Too many people tie purpose into profit. Okay, the second P. Too many people tie purpose into position. They tie it into position. They feel like, okay, I got to be the CEO. Oh, I got to be at the top of the totem pole. You know, I got to be this figure. They wrap it into a title. Titles are for structure, not power, right? Too many times we get lost in the title. You know, there was a janitor and a school bus driver that I vividly remember growing up. This janitor, he always spoke great things as in sports. He always spoke great things, and he's a janitor. But I can guarantee you he made more impact than somebody that was a CEO. He made more impact than some of the principals at our school. He didn't have the title. He didn't have the position, right? But he still made impact. And he doesn't realize that the impact is multiplied because he spoke things in my life that now, look who I am. I remember a bus driver that I had that every time he came on the bus, he would say something positive. A bus driver. He didn't have some pretty, sexy job. He didn't have some pretty, sexy title, but he used his position to impact lives. And too many of us, we want a higher position and we're not grateful for the position that we in. It doesn't matter about the position. It don't matter about the title. When I started rehab time, I had absolutely nothing. I was a trainer. And for me at that point in my life, to be honest with you, I was kind of like, hey, I'm a trainer. Then I had to check myself. I was working at 24-hour fitness. And coming from the NFL, I get it. Nothing wrong with 24-hour fitness. Nothing wrong with being a trainer at a gym. I think it's incredible. But coming from the NFL and seeing everybody, seeing you working there, and you're working for $15 to teach a class, you know, I was kind of embarrassed. And then I checked myself. I said, it don't matter about the position. Just give your all to impact these lives. Use your life. You are purpose. Use your life. And what I did was that built me up because every single day I was teaching, I was coaching. And people in Fort Worth know me for this. And that's what started rehab time. Right? So the question I want to ask you is this. If you never had the title, write this down. If you never had the title, right, the sexy title, would you still do it? If you never got the sexy title, if you never got Mr. Rehab Time, like what I have now is just a result of me putting in the work, and I'm grateful for it. But I was the same Trent when it was 10 people, when it was 2 people watching videos. I was the same person. I wasn't inconsistent in who I was because this was my life. So if you didn't have the position, would you still be hungry? That's a question, because most people would tell you, if I wasn't this, no, I wouldn't be doing it. If I wasn't getting the recognition from it, I wouldn't be doing it, which we're about to talk about in a second. So think about that, all right? Purpose is not tied to position, right? Can it bring you to a position? Sure. But don't start there. Don't think that you're less because you don't have a position that somebody else has. Work with where you're at. Make an impact with where you're at. And actually, I tell this all the time, even with money, anything, like, it's so many people that complain about what they have and they want God to bless them with more. Why would God bless you with more when you're complaining about what you have? That's just more to be ungrateful for. Be grateful for where you're at. Be grateful for where you're at. The third P, okay? Purpose is not tied to prize, right? Prize. We're human. Humans have the need of significance. We do. We all do. We all love the pat on the back. We all love the recognition. We all love the good job. We all love that, right? We all do. Even I do. But some of us, we tie our purpose to that. If we're not getting recognized, this ain't what I was created to do. It got to be something else. Because, see, a lot of times we view success off of what we see. I call it influence passion, right? We get passionate about things we're influenced by in a negative way. We see the person as, you see me, right? Have 9 million followers. Oh, I want to do that now. Not because you want to impact lives. You don't understand what I go through on a daily basis, but you want the sexy part. You want to travel the world. You want all of these things, right? Or you see the person on TV. Oh, I want that. So now I want to be that. You have influence passion, and influence passion isn't real. It'll die out because that's not who you are at your core. That's why it's very important to rediscover yourself. That's why it's very important to unbecome. It's not always about becoming. It's about unbecoming a lot to figure out who we are. That's why we talked a lot about that. Okay? But so many of us, we want the recognition. So the question I want to ask you right now, I'm asking you a lot of questions. This is about you. It's not about me. If you never got the recognition, if nobody ever said, good job, nobody ever gave you a trophy, nobody ever followed you, nobody ever, commented back, nobody ever said, you know what, I appreciate what you do, would you still do it? Would you still do it? Would you still be as hungry to do what you say you want to do with your life? Most people, they always quit when they don't get recognition. Look at my life. And I'm using me for example for all this because you guys can relate. I don't get the recognition I deserve. I ain't never got no social media award for an influencer. Listen, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but we know it's real. There ain't too many people out there getting 60 million views in a week, right? I ain't never got no influencer award. Even when I played football, I never got recognized. I never really got that, but I never lived for that. Because when you live for that, you would die by that. When you live for people's applause, right, you would die when they don't give it to you. That's what they always say. Don't let someone's compliments get you too high. Don't let someone's hate get you too low. You can't tie your identity to those things. And a lot of us, we keep our identity in profit, right? We say, okay, if I don't have enough money, then there's no way I'm a powerful person. That's a lie. Or if I don't have the right position, there's no way I'm incredible. That's a lie. Oh, if I don't have the right recognition in my life, if I don't have the prize, then what I'm doing is not impactful. That's a lie. Stop thinking that you're not making an impact because people aren't clapping for you. Like, forget man's reward. Man's reward ain't gonna last. Some of us, we living for man's reward. Listen, man's reward is cool. I get it. It makes you feel good about yourself. We all want that at times. We're human. But I'm saying, don't let it make you turn your back on what you were created to do. Don't let it make you think that you're not enough, because we talked about purpose is tied to you knowing that you are enough. Like, you're not here for man's reward. You're here for God's reward. I don't care if I never get on a TV show. I don't care about these things. You know why? Because my reward rests in heaven. I'm going for an eternal reward, a reward that nobody on this earth can give me. What I'm fighting for is legacy. I'm not fighting for a reward. I'm not fighting for a trophy. I can't take no trophy with me. I can't take no plaque with me. What I'm fighting for is legacy. And that's what you got to be fighting for. It's legacy. What's that legacy that you're going to leave? So if nobody was ever going to clap for you, and listen, like I said, when you're really dialed in, guess what happens? These things come. They do. But if they never did, would you still go hard for what you say you believe in? That's the question I want to ask you right now. And I know y'all, I know y'all getting some out of this because I'm fired up. I can feel it. I can feel it. So those three things, okay? Purpose is not tied to, write these down. And I want you guys to screenshot this, post it in the group, all these notes. Purpose is not tied to position. Purpose is not tied to profit. Purpose is not tied to prize. Okay, so we understand that. So you right now, Oprah, you fired up, Pam? I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm fired up, man. I love talking about purpose because nobody, I'm not going to say nobody, but I haven't heard anybody talk about it like this. Everybody always talks about, oh, this is how you find your purpose. And what they're really talking about is placement. They're not talking about purpose. They're not. The world doesn't have that for you. Like, God already gave it to you. He did. You got to believe that. Get in the scripture, get in the word. I think it's Romans 12:8. God says, right, if you're called to encourage, then go encourage. Go do it. God telling you to go do it. Read Romans 12. I believe it's Romans 12. Read Romans 12 and let that encourage you. Okay, so that's the things that purpose is not tied to. What is purpose tied to, right? The placement, as I'm talking about. The placement. How can your life be used the most? Because we know now that we're enough. We know that we are purpose. So, okay, Trent, I get that. So how can my life be used? Like, how do I know exactly how to use my life effectively? Okay? So let's talk about these 3 P's, the positive P's. Purpose is tied to, this is what I feel from my life. The first P. Romans is powerful, Victorian. Whew, man, I'm fired up, man. I shouldn't have worked out before. I just feel like, I'm fired up. I'm fired up, man. I just know so many breakthroughs are going to happen with this. So many breakthroughs already been happening with this. I put away my notes today. I said, I'm not reading no more notes. I'm just being real with you. I'm coming straight from the heart. Straight from the heart. I'm more effective like this. Notes is not for me. So, okay, what is purpose tied to? Placement. First thing I feel is tied to is your past. Okay? And this should be like this should be a happy time for you. Like, this should give you confidence, because I believe purpose is tied to your past, the things that you went through. Okay, as far as your life being used effectively, people say, okay, Trent, you're a coach, you're a motivator, you've inspired people, you've helped people, right? Our job is to help people. Our job is to serve. Our job is to make something better. The only way you're going to make something better is through your experience, right? You can have education. Education is cool, but I feel like experience is better. The reason I can talk to you guys about these things because I went through these things, right? Same with you. So purpose is tied to past. The things that you went through, listen to me, the things that you went through qualifies you to help other people get through it. The things that you went through qualifies you to help other people get through it. You've heard me say 1,000 times, and now you understand why I said. What do I say? There's a purpose greater than your pain. There's a purpose greater than your pain. Look at anybody who's living in their purpose, right? Look at anybody who's using their life effectively, using all of them, right? Living the life they were created to live. They're usually helping people get through something that they have been through. I like to use the analogy like this. There's a lot of people who are very smart. There's a lot of people who are educated, but they don't make an impact or a connection. Why? Because they never hiked the trail. So let me ask you this question, simple question, easy question. Would you rather take a map from someone who has hiked the trail, right? If you're going on a trail hike, you've never been there before, and somebody gives you a map, would you rather take it from a person who has hiked the trail than from someone who has never hiked the trail? Answer that for me right quick. It's a common sense. I already know what y'all gonna say, right? You would rather take it from someone who has hiked the trail. And by everything that you've been through, you're that person that's hiked the trail. All the sucky things in your past, in your life, the things that you hated, the things that were unfair, qualifies you. One of my favorite quotes that I like to say, this is why I came up with this quote. I always say, my past pain is going to be somebody else's future strength. Your past pain is going to be somebody else's future strength. That's when healing takes place. When you take the you know, you remember when I said this? I said, don't surrender to your pain, make your pain surrender to you. This is how you make your pain surrender to you, okay? It qualifies you. It has everything to do with your past. Somebody might be passionate about breast cancer because their mom had it or they went through it. Somebody might be passionate about domestic abuse because maybe they grew up in that. So, you know, they don't want anybody else to feel that. Like when you live in that, when you say, I don't want anybody else to feel like this. So you say, what is my thing? Self-worth. I don't want anybody else to feel like I felt after I lost football. I know how that feels to feel like you have nothing else to live for. That's why I fight so hard for self-worth. That's why I fight so hard in doing what I do. Jaffe said our tests become our testimony, our mess become our message. Exactly. Exactly. That is beautiful. That's exactly right. Okay? So purpose is tied to your past. Okay? Write that down. So I would be thinking right now, what is it in my past that I went through that I probably hated, that was unfair, but how can I use that now? How can I use that? Because that qualified me, right? That qualifies. You're an expert now. You went through it. An expert is somebody who's went through it. You're an expert, okay? The second thing purpose is tied to. Purpose is tied to power. Power. How do I know I'm using my life effectively? I keep saying that, right? Because that's what it is. How do I know I'm being who I created to be? How do I know I'm living in it like it? How do I know this is it? How do I know? Power. You are fulfilled. When you do it, you are fulfilled. Even if you don't have those first three, profit, position, prize, you are fulfilled. The power that I get, you guys can feel this right now. The power that I get when I'm able to help and teach and coach and inspire, it's unexplainable. The power that I get on stage, it fulfills me. It fulfills me. And so I've had dreams in my life. I had dreams that were great dreams. I was an NFL football player. That was my thing. Like, that was my dream growing up. But can I be real with y'all for a second? That didn't fulfill me. It didn't. I had money. I had recognition. I was getting pats on the back every time I came back home. But I wasn't fulfilled. I was empty. I was living my dream, but I was empty. There's a difference. You know, a lot of people tell you, and you've heard me talk about this, a lot of people tell you to fight for your dreams. Even I say it at times. When I'm talking about dreams, I'm talking about the reason you're created. And I gotta start saying that more so people understand that. And listen, dreams and the reason why you create it can go hand in hand sometimes. But the likelihood is not. And I want to say this because if you lose your dream, I don't want you to lose your life like I did. Dreams and what you want to do is sometimes totally different than what you're created to do. I never wanted to do this at first. I thought being a speaker was corny. I didn't grow up as a kid saying, oh, I want to be a public speaker. That wasn't what we talked about growing up, ever. We didn't talk about impacting people's lives. We didn't talk about sharing our struggles to help other people develop their strength. It wasn't what I wanted to do, but it was what I was called to do. And when I walked into that calling, and the first time, I'm not going to tell the story. You guys know the story of me getting on stage and with the kids. It's in my book. You guys will read it if you haven't heard that story. The power that I felt, the fulfillment that I felt, I've only felt that in certain times in my life. When my child was born, you know, certain times in my life, football never gave me that fulfillment. Did I have millions of followers at the time? Heck no, I didn't. I just started Rehab Time. And Rehab Time at that time was for me. The fulfillment it gave me is unexplainable. And that's how I knew this was it. It's power. What gives you power when you start, right, that magnet? We talked about the magnet in the training. What's the magnet that pulls people into you? What's that thing where it might not, other people might not understand it, might not get it, but it fulfills you. When I first started this, people didn't understand it. Rehab Time, nobody understood it. Nobody did. Nobody could see where it was going, where it would be at today. But it was something about it. And I don't know what that something is. I don't have a word for it. But it was something about it that I knew was right. It was something about it. It made me become a deeper, greater version of myself. It really did. So think about that, okay? Purpose is not tied to, purpose is tied to power. The third thing purpose is tied to. Purpose is tied to problems. You might be like, what? Problems? How is purpose tied to problems? Trent, you tripping now. I was with you this whole training, but you talking about problems. How is that? What I mean by problems, let me ask you this. What are you passionate about solving? Because I'm trying to help you out. Now we're kind of moving to the placement part, right? And we're about to talk about placement, right? The avenue, because now you guys are wondering, okay, like, well, what is the avenue? Like, how do I find like the placement in my life? One great way to find placement is What problems are you passionate about solving? The thing I asked myself, I said, if I had all the tools that I needed, which you do, you have breath in your life, but if I had all the tools that I needed, what problem would I want to solve? And mine was, I want to solve the problem of depression, feeling like you're worthless, anxiety, right? All the self-worth things, that was my thing, right? I wanted to solve that problem, right? You wanted to fix it. So write down things right now. Like if you could solve these problems, right? And a lot of times these problems are tied to your past because it's things that you went through. You don't want other people to go through. Sometimes it's not. If you can solve these problems, what would it be? Because when you have that, you're going to be passionate about it. You're going to be hungry for it. You're going to be hungry for it. And so when it comes to placement, okay, so we talked about those 3 P's, right? Past, power, problems. When it comes to placement, there's no direct formula. Like I would be lying to you if I told you this is the direct way to like find your avenue. It doesn't work like that. How I found my avenue, you know what I did? I just did it. I just did different stuff. Sometimes it's not going to pan out, but sometimes it is. And so for me, I think the best way to find your placement is to serve. It's to serve. Servanthood is about purpose. There's no way you could be in the place you're supposed to be in if you're not serving other people. It's about bringing other people value. If you're all about yourself, I can tell you right now, life, you're never going to live a fulfilled life. You're never going to live a fulfilled life. So what is it? And listen, you have to do it, trial and error. Like some of us, we're expecting to find like our placement, like in our lives. And listen, it could be different placements. Like I feel like this is me. You can place me anywhere. There's so many, writing a book is a placement for me, right? On stage is a placement for me. With my family is a placement for me. At the gym is a placement for me, right? There's so many different placements. Once I understand who I am and I understand I can impact anywhere I go, that's why I'm so big on like you guys having confidence in yourself. That's why we did the confidence training, the first training that we ever did. But the question I would ask myself right now is like, what could that be? But also, there's so many people expecting to find their placement, their avenue, by doing nothing. It's not just going to come to you. You know, you can hear all of this. You can be saying straight up, amen, Trent, this is incredible. This is awesome. But if you don't put any faith in your feet, okay, that means you walk it out. Sometimes you got to walk blindly. That is what faith is. Being able to see the unseen, nothing is going to happen, period. Some of us, we sit on our little tushy, expecting the world to bring us stuff, right? Expecting the world to say, here you go. No, you got to go try. You got to step outside your comfort zone. Public speaking was my biggest fear. But you know what? I stepped outside of my comfort zone. And I'm not saying everybody here wants to be a speaker. Like, don't take that from me because I don't know what it is that the placement for your life is. I don't know. Only you know. Maybe somebody has spoken to you about in the past, right? But if you just sit and put no action to your life, nothing is going to happen. Inaction is the greatest killer to purposes. It's the greatest killer to impact. It's the greatest killer to inspiration. If you have no action, nothing will happen in your life. Get that? So I would rather try something and say, you know what, let me just try it. And if you don't feel that fulfillment in it, if you don't, okay, cool. Then try something else. Go to a different avenue. It's okay. There's times where I wanted to be a rapper. I thought that was what I was called to do. But it wasn't. But you know what? Now I still use that for what I do now. I do spoken word. I do some rap in this avenue. You know, so there's going to be different times in your life. And that's the whole purpose of this training, to understand no matter what you lose, no matter who you lose, no matter what you try, it succeeds, it fails, it ends, it begins. No matter any of that, you are purpose. You can use your life in whatever way you choose to use it. That's a great thing, and that's a bad thing. Some people use their life in a destructive way. Some people use their life in a powerful way. That choice is yours. Okay? So stop thinking that you got to go out and find your purpose. What you're looking for is your placement, and we talked about that. But once you start operating as if I am purpose, I promise you, your life will start to change. You will start to impact lives because you now have power. And power is very contagious. You now have belief. You now have confidence. Go back and watch that confidence training that we did at first if you forgot about the confidence part. Right? I have confidence. And actually, and you'll see in my book, you'll see I was literally writing the purpose chapter. And, you know, I talked about your past and I talked about what it's tied to. And literally in the book, I went back and I said, because it happened to me, I had this realization 2 years ago. I said, why do people tell people to find their purpose? I said, no, you are purpose. And I put that in the book because I want you guys to understand that. So I hope that you get it. I hope that you understand it. And I hope that you just know that you're enough. Like, please know that you're enough. I lost my purpose. You haven't lost your purpose, right? You might have lost yourself. You haven't lost your purpose. Your life is purpose. You might have lost the job. That wasn't your purpose. That was just the time in your life. That was just the placement. That was just the title. And if you lost yourself, I understand that. But the best way to find yourself again is go to the man who created you. I'm a believer, right? What does God say about you? Some of us, sometimes we're putting too much faith in the world. You're worried about what people say about you. You're worried about the losses in your life. You're worried about the setbacks, and you're allowing those things to define your life. Don't let the losses define your life. Let it refine your life. God has already defined your life. Do you realize that? Can't nothing take that away from you. Can't nobody take you away from you. And I know it's easier said than done. I get it. I understand. I go through my times. But I have to remind myself that I am enough. I have to remind myself that I protect what I accept. I have to remind myself that I am purpose. These are things that I tell myself every single day. Whether I say it out loud or it's in my brain, I'm programmed to tell myself I am enough. When I'm feeling like I'm not enough, no, I am enough. Some of us, we accept the wrong stuff. If you listen to my audio, I sent in the inbox. If you're not a part of my messenger inbox, be a part of it. I sent that audio. I sent that about knowing that you are enough. Okay, so I want you guys to get that, understand that, and I hope this really, really touched your life and gave you a better understanding about what purpose is. I hope that you look at purpose in a different way. I hope you approach life in a different way now, and just think about that. Don't define purpose, your life's worth and value by those three things that most people do, right? Profit, position, prize. Please don't do that. Don't do that. Can those things come? Yeah, sure they can. But those things don't make you. Okay, for the next 15 minutes, I want to do some Q&A real quick. So you guys go ahead and shoot off your questions right quick. I want to answer it. And if I ever get frozen, just refresh your page, guys. So, okay, Trent, I lost 35. Trent, I'm 35. I lost everything in my health, my job, myself. Now I'm obese and fighting for this setback of life. Please tell me how I can make the first step and not to lose consistency. So, okay, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Is it? I don't even want to say it wrong, but I got you. Starts with an M. I got your question. You can tell me later how to pronounce your name. Charge it to my mind, not my heart. So the first thing I would ask you is, what can you control, right? What can you control? A lot of times, what do? We think about the things we can't control. People, things outside of us, the external, right? And even with purpose, it's about the internal, not the external. I think somebody said that in here. If you realize those first three things were external things, right? They're external things. When you focus on the external things, you allow those things to control your life. So I would say internally, what can I control? So what's the first step? With consistency, it's funny, I talk about this in the book, in Championship Mindset. So I would find something. First of all, you need to remind yourself that you're enough, okay? Go watch some videos. This training hopefully inspires you to know that. But you have to know that you are enough no matter what size you are, no matter what age you are, how many failures you had, right? But you want to be your best self. I understand that. You want to be the greatest you. So I would challenge you to do something that's easy. That's not even say easy to do, but start with small with consistency. A lot of us, we try to jump into this big thing with consistency. Start with something small. Maybe it's waking up and doing the 4As every single day, right? Something that doesn't take much. You can control that. Because if you can be consistent in the small things, it builds muscle memory, right? To be consistent in the big things. One of the things I talk about in the book is yoga. I tell people all the time, like, be consistent with yoga. Go do that, right? Something that's small, something that kind of challenges you and pushes you. But if you stick with it, it has great benefits. So do something to remind yourself that you're incredible. All right. Well, you can do something with that too. But remind yourself that you're incredible, that you're enough, that you are purpose, that you have to protect what you accept. And also think about, if you're like me, I use leverage questions, right? I ask myself, do I want to live the rest of my life like this? You know, when people tell me it's hard to make a change, and I was like, yeah, it's true. It is hard to make a change. But you know what? It's even harder to stay the same. So I would rather make a change that's going to benefit my future. It's going to help my legacy. We talked about legacy today. I don't know if you have kids or other people around you. I want to create legacy. So that's why I take care of myself. And that's why it's so important, because there's a you inside of you haven't even met yet. Like, don't leave this earth without meeting that person. You deserve to meet that person. Hope that helped a bit. How can I distinguish between a dream and a purpose? Great question. So I feel like a dream is externally motivated a lot, right? A dream is a lot of times tied into, and like I said, they can work together. Don't get me wrong. They can work together. Only you can decide that. But I feel like a dream is externally motivated. And so for me, growing up, right, I wanted to be a football player because of the perks, right? Just to be real, I want the perks. I love the game, but I wanted the perks. I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to be known. I wanted to be rich. I wanted to be famous. I wanted to be a celebrity. The things we thought were success growing up, like where I'm from, most of us anyway, think that that's what success is. So my dream was influenced by what I saw. It was externally motivated. Also, my dream was about me, right? My dream was about me. It was, you do yoga in a chair. No, I don't do yoga in a chair. My dream, you can though. My dream was about myself. My dream wasn't bigger than me. It was all about me. When it comes to purpose, purpose is internal. Purpose is something that maybe you don't even want to do, right? Maybe something you're fear, but you walk into it because it's bigger than you, right? You feel fulfilled. Dreams, you don't always feel fulfilled. You know, if you take away those things I talked about, would you still be fulfilled? I think that's the difference, right? I always say dreams is what you want to be. Purpose is what you were called to be. So if you took away those three things, right? If you took away those three things from your dream, would you still be fulfilled? And if the answer is no, you probably aren't living your purpose. That's just what I feel like. But if you can take it away and you still be fulfilled, and you still feel like you have power and you have total fulfillment in your life, then I feel like you are being what you were called to be. And listen, there could be multiple things that you're created to do and be. You know, so I hope that helped a little bit. What other questions we got, guys? So Robin asks, how much impact do you feel like social media has on wanting approval, likes and followers? It seems like for some of it, it's obsessive addiction trying to profit. Yes, Robin, great question, Robin, great question. It has a lot to do with it, right? We live in a time where, and we've all been victim of this, even myself. We live in a time where we're being controlled by likes, by followers, by views, by all of these things, right? And if you're not careful, those things will control your worth. You might say, oh, this isn't a great picture because I only got 10 likes. And to take it even a step deeper, some people are losing who they are to be what social media wants them to be. So let's just use a woman, for example, okay? And men can do this too, so I'm not being like equality, but I see it a lot with women, right? A woman might post a picture that's a normal picture, you know, nice, you know, shirt, jeans, you know, beautiful picture. She might get, you know, 200 likes. 200 likes, right? And then she can post a picture where, you know, she has a bikini or, you know, showing some skin, you know, and I'm not saying like you can't show your body off, okay? Feel free. I'm not saying that, but in a, in a way that's in a way of trying to seek attention, and she might get 2,000 likes. Now, this is what's happening literally. Now you're like, dang, I have to be this person because that's who they want me to be. And this is the only way I can get likes and views. And so now I'm this person. And you see that a lot with social media. The thing that I'm proud about myself is that I've never taken that road. I know right now, like I could go viral right now, like easily. I can run down the street without my clothes on. Don't you think that'll go viral? Right? I could go do something stupid like knock on my neighbor's door and throw a pizza at him and record it. Don't you think that'll go viral? But that's not who I am in my soul. And so you have to remind yourself that you're in it for impact. You have to remind yourself that numbers, followers, likes can mean something in the standpoint of like, you can say, oh, wow, this impacted more people. Okay, cool. Like this is the magnet that people want to see. You can take it from there, but don't allow that to be how you judge yourself, how you judge your worth. Okay. And that's tough because we live in a time where numbers are mattering to so many people, and with me having 9 million, like I tell people all the time, like when I have these numbers, I'm still fulfilled on a video if it had, 1,000 likes, 100,000. If I know that it's impacting the life, that's what I care about. Now, do I want it to be viral? Sure, because I know that my message can help so many people, but my worth isn't wrapped around that, if that makes any sense. And so don't get caught up in that, because when you focus, I like to call it the purpose mind versus business mind. And when you grow your business, naturally you get more business minded. I see it all the time. It's happened to me before, and I have to reel it back in and like, nah, like, because now you start to think, okay, now I have bills to pay. I got employees to pay. So it's like, okay, what do we need to do? And you get away from purpose. I've seen that a lot. I've seen it even when I played in the NFL. For me, I got away from what got me there. And so I had this conversation with myself about 2 years ago. I said, you know what? Stay true to the purpose and everything else will take care of itself. God will provide for you. Stay true to the purpose. Stay true to it. And as you see, we're having the biggest year yet by staying true to the purpose. Having the biggest year yet by staying true to the purpose. So you always want to make sure, I said 80-20. I always say I'm 80% purpose-minded, 20% business-minded. And I think when you flip it, when you 80% business-minded, 20% purpose-minded, yeah, you might get those three things. You might get money, you might get profit, you might get, prize, you might get position, but you won't get fulfillment. And at the end of the day, what can you take with you? Right? I ain't never seen no U-Haul attached to a hearse. It's funny that we all fighting like for that. We all fight for all of those things, and you can't take it with you. But you can take legacy. Like legacy is something that you will leave here. And if your legacy is to be Bill Gates, cool, nothing wrong with that. But I want my legacy to be a person that really impacted people's life and made them know that they were enough. That's what I want my legacy to be, and that's what I fight for. We got about 7 more minutes, guys. Exactly. 54, exactly. Listen, Elizabeth said you have millions in there. Exactly. 54 people here. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people, and that's just fact that a lot of people don't want. Listen, there's people who can't afford this, right? I understand that. Period. There's people, we have way more people in TIC. There's people who can't be here at this time. I understand that. But there's some people who have signed up but don't want to do the work. They don't. They sign up thinking that if I'm a part of TIC, my life is going to change. It doesn't happen like that. As we talked about, you have to put action. You have to do the work. And a lot of people don't want to show up, And so I'm glad that all you guys are here. And the people watch the replay who can't be here at this time, I'm glad they watched the replay. And I'm glad that people are applying the steps and actually changing. I mean, I'm sure we have a lot of testimonies on people actually making changes in their life. I need to know how to move, but I'm scared to settle and stay. How do I just go and move without uncertainty? So if it's in your heart, Crystal, and you know that this is what you're being called to do, move. I don't think there's ever a perfect time. Okay, I don't want you, just make sure, of course, you have the things in order you need to have in order. I don't want you to just like move without any foundation, right? But sometimes it's like moving on. Like people want to I'm not going to move on until I know what I'm moving on to. And so people stay in a place of pain when what they're moving on to only shows up if they were to move, if that makes any sense. So sometimes oftentimes you have to move for that to show up. And you can always move back. That's why I tell people, like, if you have a decision, you can always move back. Nothing wrong with that. You know, my sister-in-law, she lives with us now, just got her apartment. I'm proud of her. You actually seen her in my videos. And, you know, she moved down here with uncertainty, but she knew she wanted to get out of Indianapolis, Indiana. Nothing against Indianapolis, anybody. My son was born there, so nothing against Indy. But she's from there. She wanted to come to the great state of Texas. And she did it with uncertainty. She had to find new friends. She had to, you know, pretty much start over. But she did it. And now she's growing. She's finding friends. It took her, you know, 6 months, 7 months. But now she's, you know, starting the foundation for her life. So Tammy said, I really can't afford this, but it's worth it. It's been in my budget. That's what's up, Tammy. I'm proud of you. I can't afford it, but I choose. Yeah, see, that's something. Like, what's important to you? And I don't want anybody ever to go broke being a part of TIC. You guys know me. I can, that part doesn't matter to me, right? But for you to say, you know what, I'm going to invest in myself into this instead of spending on a dinner, you know, or a T-shirt. That's what it comes down to, you know, is it shows where your priorities are. And I know that investment will pay off. For sure. All right, let's take a few more questions. Good night from France. Almost one down here. Man, from France, that's what's up. And we're turning to summer hours soon. What is the connection between faith and purpose according to you? If I'm understanding your question right, the connection between faith and purpose, I believe it's everything. Especially when you're living your purpose or trying to, you have to step out in faith. You know, faith is... My definition of faith is believing the odds are beatable even when the odds say it's impossible. So for me, it's believing that I can impact lives with my life. It's believing that God has called me to do something, especially when you're first starting. I didn't know where he was calling me to, but I just knew that it was my calling because I even looked back on people telling me throughout my whole life. That's why I say tied to your past, not necessarily what you went through, but maybe it's callings people told you about yourself. Like I went back to my past since I was a kid. And I keep saying you're reading in my book, but you will. I was a kid, 5 years old, and this was told to me since 5. I probably can count 5 or 6 times where people have told me, like, this is what I was created to do, even though I wasn't even nowhere near it. So faith is everything when it's tied to life, when it's tied to who you are. I believe a life without faith is a life that will end up lost. I have a servant's heart. I know that's love and why I'm here. I keep hearing to always have to be true to this. How do I grasp that? How do I grasp that and work that into what he's called me to do? I keep hearing to thyself be true in this. Jaffe, I'm not really understanding the question. I was spending money on things that were stunning my growth. That's what's up, Michael. Tammy's in here. Crystal's in here. That's what's up. So, all right, guys. Oh, I shared Jeremiah 2011 book in your book, and mom told me that your mom told you you can share it here. Yeah, Jeremiah. I did share Jeremiah 29:11. It's in the book, and I actually already said it today. This is me paraphrasing it. What it means to me. It says God has a plan for us, not to harm us, but to prosper us. Right? God isn't there to see us fail. He's there to help us succeed. Like he has a plan for your life. He set you apart. So Jeremiah 29:11 is special for me, and that's what I say. Like that's what I say to myself. I know that's not word for word what Jeremiah 29:11 states, but he has a plan for us, a plan to prosper us, not to harm us, not to fail us. And when you realize that, like that changed my life. Like that kept me going to know that God has a plan for my life. But I know only through obedience can you see the plan fulfilled. Like sometimes we try to live in disobedience. We try to live for the world and we expect the plan to be fulfilled. Like we don't do our part enough. And that's something I talk about a lot that I don't hear a lot of, speakers or preachers talk about. Like you have to do your part. You have to, like, yes, God can do anything, right? It's the almighty God, but you have to do your part. And some of us, we never want to do our part. We want God to work in our lives without working on ourselves. And I believe, yes, he can do that. There's nothing God can't do. But I feel like God moves in your life even on a more powerful level when you step out on faith. Hey, Robin, hit me up. So for some of you, what I'm going to do is, I know a lot of you ordered the book, but I'm going to give you an extra book. I can't do it with everybody. We'll announce it in the group, but I'm going to pick a certain amount of you to send you a book so you can actually read it before everybody else. And so you just have 2 books if you already pre-ordered it. And you can give it away to somebody as a gift if you want. But I'm going to pick a certain group of you guys, probably like 100 or 300 of you, and send you books. And that's cool with you guys. Is that cool? Would y'all like that? Cool. All right. Just for my TIC group. So you guys will have that first opportunity at it. Brenda will probably post about it. That will be here soon. I'm actually going on vacation this week. Me and the wife are going out to Puerto Rico, meeting up with some cool people. Some people you guys know. I'm sure you do. I'll probably snap a little bit. Might even bring somebody on live on Monday. And so if I got to see the time zone. The time zone. I'm talking about, I don't even know the time zone. And I got on you guys about the time zone. But I'll be out the country. Well, not the country, because Puerto Rico is still a part of the United States. But I'll be there recharging. And just, I'm pretty sure you'll see a lot of protect your peace moments knowing me. And you guys have a great week, a great Saturday. You guys are winning your weekend. You guys are here on a Saturday, man. That's like so cool. And I think you guys have a better grasp of purpose. And I really hope this helped you understand like this, like I am purpose. And just start telling yourself that every day. Please, just start telling yourself that every day you wake up or every day you look in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm purpose. I am purpose. I'm here for a reason. You know, what that reason is to use my life to better other people. And I can use that. I can be that person anywhere, anytime. Like, you know, that's what I'm trying to, you can walk outside your house and be that person. But it starts with knowing you're enough. It starts with working on yourself so you can be that person. So thanks, guys. I appreciate you. I hope you had a great training. I hope you took some notes. Post the notes if you can. Send them to me on Instagram so I can repost them if you got some cool notes. If you're like me, your notes probably aren't cool because I can't write cool notes like some of you with the different color pens and all. It'd be looking cool, man. I'd be like, man, I cannot write notes like that. My notes be all over the place. I'd be having, it's just terrible. So, all right, guys, appreciate y'all. It all starts with you. Be the greatest you this week. Let's get it. Okay, now the weird part of me trying to figure out how to turn this off. How does this work?